Welcome to Ready, Set, Real Estate, where we will help empower and educate you on many different aspects of real estate, finance, and investing. Each week, we will expand your knowledge and uncover hidden truths. We will break down real-world scenarios and study actual how-to strategies. Anyone can buy real estate, but together we'll ensure you make smart real estate investment decisions. Now, here's your host, award-winning author, international speaker, and real estate educator, Gillett.
Happy Wednesday. It's that time again. I'm using a green screen and it just makes me look pink. I'll figure out how to fix that one day, but not today. We are on episode 242. That's amazing to be rocking consistently. So we're doing some things here. So like I said, I'm messing around with my green screen and it's got me looking really pinkish. Don't really like it. I'll figure it out at some point in time, but we won't do that today. Say hi, say hello. Make sure you press 1 down below. Let me know you're here. Press 2 lets me know you shared it. Let me get that up here real quick. I am going to probably make sure my mic is on. Shout out to those of you who are tuning in on Instagram. Whoop, whoop. What's going on Instagram? Oh, I see some new faces. Vegan Wolverine, how are you? I see your posts all the time because I'm a vegetarian, but I haven't quite made it over to the vegan lifestyle, but I appreciate your posts. Okay. So just know I see you. I see who else is in here? Free Palestine, Gaza, Dijon, maybe Natasha, Dijon, Natasha, shout out. Thanks for connecting and tuning in. We've got a great show today. We'll be talking about liens because last week I went on and on about short sales, and then I was just inspired to talk about liens. And so I said, this would be a good topic. So what am I doing? So let's see. We want to do sound check. If you can hear me, just, again, drop in, say hi, say hello. Let me know that you can hear me and make sure we are good to go. Okay, yeah. So far, so good. Oh, I'm so pink. So pink. I'm looking at it on the Facebook like, I'm so pink. I'll fix it, but not today because I want to go on with the show and I've got a long day ahead of me. So you're not really here anyway to look at me per se. You're here to get all this real estate knowledge. And so we are going to do classroom style today, which means I've got a slide to share. Meanwhile, we're doing that. We are in January, February, March, April, May, June. So we're in second quarter. Have you been working on your quarterly goals, your second quarter real estate goals? As for me, I finished up the school stuff during the first quarter. So I'm now in my last year of school. Woohoo! Thank you. And thank you for those who've been supporting. But I also have been writing down the goals for work, real estate goals. That means, production goals, personal goals like my credit score. I've improved my credit score, although I just paid off a loan and I took like a 46-point hit on my credit because I paid it off. It's like, oh, isn't that what I'm supposed to do? This is why I say don't get caught up and tripped up over the credit stuff. Do not, because it's like the stock market. It goes up, it goes down every single day. And the apps or the credit bureaus now know this. So they're selling you on downloading their app and getting the alerts and getting the notifications. And I get them all the time and it just will make you bonkers. So unless you really need credit, and if you are tuning in and this is a real estate show and you've been learning how to save, what you need to do with credit and the importance of credit and financing, then yes, it makes sense to monitor that. But just do know it'll drive you nuts if you're checking it every day because it just does that. It is a snapshot in time of what your finances look like, your finances. More on credit later because we're going to be talking about liens and how liens affect your credit. I get to tell you a real true story about my lien. Yeah. Later. Okay. Let's see here. What else? I'm going through checklists here. So disclaimers. Before I get into disclaimer, for those of you who are again new to the show, I'm Lisa Gillett, also known as Super Agent. Some of you formerly know me, formerly known as Lisa Puerto. I am broker, owner, and founder of Devenio Estates, and a lot of cool things that you see me get into. Once upon a time, we had Real Estate 100 Youth Foundation. I created the Real Estate 100 Youth Movement, and I've got all the book series. I'm working on some really cool stuff this year that I promise myself that I will execute and I will get them out. It's just, there's a lot going, but I love the creative stuff. So the creative stuff gives me good, mojo, if you will. I am certified, experienced, designations trained in all things such as foreclosure, pricing strategy. I'm like, what else? What else do you know, Lisa? Short sales, probates, and I love to work with our senior community. Therefore, I do hold that designation as a real estate seniors real estate specialist. All that means is I'm trained and experienced to market and sell and work with our senior community. What else? That's about it, I think, for now. So let's do this. Let's go for a quick break, a quick sponsor break, and we'll be right back. Okay. Great. Does that help? I took my light off a little bit. Does that help? It's just like, watching myself be pink. Nope, doesn't help. So let's just keep the light on. We're here for it. Like I said, I'll play around with it a little bit more in terms of my green screen. But I do have a slideshow for us today. Oh, by the way, that little promo for those of you who are tuning in and listening was our promo for in the investment blueprint. That is the part 2 series of Real Estate 100, written and co-authored with Anthony Lee, who's doing amazing things. Got to check in with Anthony and bring him back on the show, and myself. And that is focusing on house hacking and how to leverage what most of you understand as the first-time home buyer programs on how to buy income property or real estate so that you can leverage living kind of rent-free. So that's what that book is about. Real Estate 100, the teen home buying, the teen and millennial investment blueprint. Oh, I got so many books. It's like, hard to keep up. Shout out to Our Love Enterprises who's joined in. Caddy Forte is in the building. Thanks for joining in. We'll be talking about liens today, and you have tuned in right on time. Why? Because it's slide time. It's time to share the slides. That's why. Boom, boom, boom. I'm so pumped. I've had a good workout this morning. I'm in a good energy. When you're in a good space, you got great things going on. And that's where I am. So I want to share that. I'm loving on you today and giving you all that good stuff, good vibes, good energy. All right, we'll be talking about liens today. Untangling the web of liens in real estate is what that should say. Untangling the web of liens in real estate. Let's jump into it. A lien is a security interest or legal right acquired in one's property by a creditor or lien holder. This little thing here where it says your paragraph text actually should be reading my source link. And I use cornell.edu for that definition so that we can have an understanding of what a lien is. It's a security interest or legal right acquired in one's property by a credit holder, or also known as a, what? You guessed it, lien holder. So let's look at the type of liens here. Today we'll be talking about various types of liens, how they come up, and how to remove them, and how this can, create an issue or challenge, an obstacle in your real estate transaction. I'm dealing with a couple. We're all dealing with it. If you're in real estate, you're dealing with it. It is very rare that you will come across a property that has no liens. In fact, no, even if it's paid off, there will be at least one lien on a property, even if it's paid off. And I've got a free giveaway for anyone who can give me the answer to that. So, free giveaway, freebie. So, freebie, if you can tell me what type of lien remains on a property, even if it is paid off. Answer wins a free real estate gift. Ha! See? Bet you didn't know that was happening in the show, huh? All right. So I got a freebie for us today. Shout out to those of you also who are tuning in on the ERGJ Enterprises. My man, Evan Jefferson, doing great things over there. So thank you for tuning in. If you're tuning in on our YouTube channel, LA Super Agent, on our Lisa Gillett Facebook watch channel, we see you. And of course, Ready Set Real Estate also has its own channel. So I'm going to pin that there for those of you who are tuning in. So what type of lien? First person that drops the answer before the show ends, gets a freebie. All right. And then you can send me a message and give me your shipping address and I'll send it right off till you get a cool merch. All right. Okay. So mechanics lien, let's get into this. A mechanics lien is a hold against your property filed by in who? Unpaid, probably angered, disgruntled contractor. Hey, super agent Evan Jefferson says, hey, I was just talking about you. I was just giving a shout out to the ERGJ page and those who are tuning in and connected through the Black Billionaires Club and doing amazing things. All right. Good seeing you. So unpaid, disgruntled, upset contractor who has done work on your property, right? Whether they are a contractor, a subcontractor, a laborer, or material supplier, and is recorded with the county recorder's office. All right, that's who would be able to file a mechanics lien. Thanks for the tag, Wanda Hollis. You better check me out. He says, check out Super Agent. We're waiting for you, Wanda. So here we have what is happening. Someone's come out and done some work on your house. For those of you who are saying, I'll partially pay them. Now, if they've invoiced you, they've given you the estimate, they've covered all their bases, they've done the work, they met the timeline, and there's no issue, right? No issue to challenge. And they send you a bill and say, hey, here's the balance. Work has been completed. Payment is now due. And 30 days goes by and it's past due. Some may send you a nice little courtesy reminder and get you to that 60-day past due, plus interest, late charges. Some might even get to 120 days past due, plus interest and late charges. But then guess what? The laborer, contractor, material supplier, subcontractor can now do. He can now send, or she can now send a notice of intent to lien. What does that mean? They're going to notify on public record that you owe them some money. And they are going to secure that interest against your property. What property here? This is a real estate show. We're talking about real property, real estate that you own, or guess what? When I talk about judgments, people can secure judgment and lien against your name before you even own any property, thereby affecting your ability to buy property. Uh-oh. Someone's got to pay attention. Someone's here paying attention, taking great notes. So now when you file that notice to lien, they then let you know, hey, you didn't pay me, you owe me, I'm putting a lien on your property. And they filed the mechanic's lien. I think probably one of the great perks of being a contractor or a subcontractor, a laborer, is to know this little piece of information that no invoice goes unpaid. We got to make a living here. Let's do good. Let's all do good business. All right, let's move along. So we have now the Homeowners Association lien. Where does that come from? And most oftentimes people are not as familiar with HOAs, I realize. Folks are not too familiar with HOA, but the Homeowners Association is essentially the management company, right? The management entity that is overseeing a development or planned development. You're in a community, and so with that community comes expenses, maintenance, operation, overseeing the upkeep of those of the property grounds. The HOA has a board. The HOA has, assessments that they've got to keep track of. And so those assessments are passed on to the individual homeowners within that HOA community as a due. This is separate from your mortgage. So if you are purchasing or thinking about purchasing, remember that you should be budgeting, right? If you qualify for 2,400 and you are looking into an HOA community, make sure you're budgeting for the HOA monthly dues that is paid directly to the HOA. I remember once upon a time, long time ago, someone said to me, I purchased a property in the HOA community, and the truth is I could never afford my home. What did she mean? She meant that she couldn't afford both the mortgage payment and the HOA dues. That's what she meant. She couldn't afford it, but she purchased it anyway, not through me, and of course, against my advice. I like to say, buy the house that you can, that you can afford. Buy the house that you can, that you can keep. All right, so failure to pay those HOA dues will result in what? What is going to happen? Expect collection calls, letters, notices, itemization of delinquent charges. Here's what's interesting that we forget when we start to deal with mortgage companies, especially because we're thinking it's a mortgage company, and we usually expect the term debt collection, or we are a debt collector. We usually mentally associate that term with what? What's that? Credit cards, right? Credit cards. When we associate that with credit cards, we're not really treating or thinking that our mortgage servicer is a debt collector. You have indebted yourself, encumbered, these are real estate terms, encumbered that property with a mortgage. You don't pay the mortgage. They are attempting to collect a debt. All right. Still on HOAs though. So homeowner association lien, you fail to pay, and guess what? They then send you a notice. They notify the property owner of intent to file lien, and they then do what? Record that lien with the county recorder's office. So now they've secured an interest against your property. Moving along. Now there's this thing called judgments and issues that come with it. Judgments are my favorite. Judgments are my favorite. Why? Because when people think they can get away with things in life, you can't. If someone finds you, or not even find you, they need to know enough about you to sue you in name. If they can't find you, and I've done this whole process to get a default judgment against an individual, couldn't find the person. So what the court allows you to do is publish notice of you suing them, that you filed a complaint against them for whatever reasons, And if they are trying to dodge you, they can't be served, and you show the court that you've made a good faith effort to to put this person on notice, right? Because that's the first thing when we talk about lawsuits, is that you've got to give, it's a right for the person to know they're being sued. By the way, did I give my whole disclaimer? Did I give my disclaimer, y'all? Because I could tell I'm getting into all this legal stuff. Oh my gosh. Watch out, Lisa. Calm down. Okay, so a little disclaimer for those of you who are tuning in. The information provided on the show should not be considered legal or tax advice. Please seek legal and tax advice from those reputable, licensed professionals. Say it again for the people in the back. All right, let's continue. So fun thing about judgments and suing folks is can't find them. There is court process and procedures where you can be allowed, it's part of civil procedure, that will allow you to post a whole copy of the lawsuit right in the court. There's a bulletin board, and if you ever want to look at tax liens and auctions and sheriff sales, guess what? Go to court. Right in the courthouse, they have a whole list of people's properties is being auctioned off, the date of the auction, how much you need. Give them a call. Call the person. There's a department or a division handling those auctions or sheriff sale, and tell them what you're interested in. They'll tell you what you need: cashier's checks, the minimum deposit. They'll tell you what the requirements are, when you are allowed, how much time you have to pay on your purchase in full, right? So it's usually like a 3-day thing, a 3-day window you have to pay, or I believe you will forfeit your deposit. So there's a lot you can learn about court just by going down there. You find a whole lot about people's business. Can you tell I've been on both sides of the end? Yes, I've been sued and I have sued someone. So it is a scary thing at first, but then you realize, you know what? Pinch myself. I'm not bleeding. I'm not hurt. I'm still breathing. Life goes on. So you just got to pick yourself up and deal with it and face it. This is designed for people who think they can get away with it, and or at some point you may have to deal with it. And that's what happened to me. My judgment story is when the crisis happened, fell behind credit card. The credit card company ended up suing me. They got a judgment against me because life was just, a whirlwind. And I didn't show up. I mean, I showed up, but then I didn't. And they got that default judgment. And I was cool with it because at that point in time, that was the last thing of my mind, was thinking about finances. I was dealing with personal things. And so what the judgment does says, hey, when you are ready to deal with it, we'll be waiting plus interest. Ooh, this is why we have this little chart happening here, right? So if you wait 2020, you owe this amount. 2021, it goes up. 2022, 23, 24. And guess what? It continues to go up. So a judgment, in essence, is a lien, is a claim on a debt towards property created by a judgment against a defendant, you, if you are the named defendant, when you fail to pay the debt. The judgment, and here's why I like judgments, right? The judgment lien is superior to any liens created after it. What does that mean? That means if I have a judgment against you for $10,000, if somebody else comes behind and says, hey, they owe me some money too, guess what? You're first in line before that next person. But that only works if you record it. If you don't record it, guess what? You just have an unsecured debt. There's no protection. Pay attention. There's no protection on unsecured debt. So make sure you record those liens. This is why right now I've been noticing, especially within the reverse mortgage arena, a lot of the lenders that are buying because buying and selling notes are everyday business in real estate. In the mortgage world, it's very normal to buy and sell notes. As homeowners, you get notices that say, hey, by the way, your note has been sold. This is the new note holder. Send your payment here, or there's nothing to do. We'll still manage the collecting and expensing or allocating for your payments. That's what your mortgage servicer says, right? We did a past show, and I'll just put a reminder here as well, that it is important to understand the difference between a mortgage servicer versus your mortgage lender. As a quick reminder for my folks here, is that your mortgage servicer, as your mortgage servicer, they are the middle person between you making your payments to the mortgage lender. The lender is the note holder who owns the note. There is a difference. You should know the difference, okay? And now you know today. No excuses, because why? You're listening to this show. And so, as I mentioned, more time passes, the greater the debt grows. Now, here's a little thing, as I mentioned currently, I mentioned the term superior liens and junior liens. Superior lien, junior lien. Who will get paid first is what those liens determine. Superior liens, such as your first mortgage, it's codified in the code, in the language of the notes, that they will hold first position. They hold first position before everything else. So your mortgage will get paid first when it's time to get paid. And that includes super liens, such as, you've been hearing me rant about this for the last couple years. I've calmed down a bit because I haven't seen too many people make this I would say a bad judgment call, or maybe folks are still getting bamboozled. I really haven't heard much about it, but the PACE and HERO liens, where they're being solicited to put solar panels, paint their house, do termite work, make their home energy efficient. Although I do get those solicitation calls, and maybe many of you still get those solicitation calls, those type of home improvement work are attached to your property taxes, which makes them a super lien. Because why? Property taxes are super liens, and they too get paid first as well. Okay, so junior liens, let's talk about that. Junior liens are the ones we were talking about, such as judgments, such as alimony, child support, income taxes, or other civil actions. That determines who will get paid first. So you can't get away from not paying your ex-wife or ex-husband alimony, right? Because if you have a court order and it's showing up against your name, even if you don't have property, when you purchase property, we talk about the importance of title. Guess what? I'm having one of my title reps come on the show next week, so tune in. He'll be talking to us more about the importance of title insurance and how liens and judgments show up and affect title. So even if you don't own property, but you've got judgments, guess what? When they do that statement of information, it shows up and the state says, no. Before you can get this property transferred in your name and have clear title, which is why all this matters, is to have clear title, is you've got to clear up these issues or show that you are making payments, that you are actually doing something about the debt. This is why it's important, okay? So let's talk about how to wrap this stuff, and we're going to wrap up the show. I love that we're right 28 minutes in. We've got a good, we're in a good space and place. I see Angela and Alyssa. Shout out to my dear friend. Miss you, love you. Thanks for tuning in. She's probably tuning in at work. Shh, don't tell anyone, as most of you are, maybe. So releasing of the lien. So again, true or false? Can you have a lien recorded in your name even if you don't own real estate? True. Will it affect you buying property? Yes. Can you ignore your liens? Yes, you can ignore them. You can ignore them for all you want, but guess what? There's a law that says the lien can be renewed by court approval for an additional 20 years. Ooh, you thought it would just fall off like 7 years. It'll just fall off your credit, right? No, because if someone is smart enough and knows the law and the rules, they'll just go ahead and submit a renewal to the court to have it renewed and have that judgment keep showing up against your name and against your property for an additional 20 years until you satisfy that judgment. So how do we satisfy the judgment? How do we remove the lien? Satisfaction of judgment needs to be filed with the court by the creditor, the person you owe, saying, yes, they've paid me. And sometimes they'll record a partial satisfaction or a full satisfaction. You need to pay attention to the paperwork. And then you will be granted a release of lien. And it's actually an abstract. It's a document that needs to be filed with the county recorder's office. Can you tell I was happy when I had that dang judgment removed? Absolutely. Hello, my dear. She's like, I'm over here. Yes. Yeah, Instagram is really tiny over there too, right? I've been figuring out how to avoid making myself look pink right now, but it's because of my green screen, but it's all good. It's all good because you're not really here for this space. You're here for the what? Information, giving you all this real estate game. So that's how you successfully remove the lien. You pay off the debt. You negotiate with the creditor. This is why they tell you in like Credit 101 or on those credit forums, make sure you get the abstract, the satisfaction of judgment form. Make sure you get the abstract or the release of lien. Don't negotiate with them about settling any debt unless they are also going to release the debt. Okay, so this is how you set yourself free. In our world, this is why we front load our deals. We run the preliminary title. We want to see everything recorded against that lien, against that property. And we will see that. We'll see child support. We'll see judgments. We'll see civil suits. We'll see personal liens, commercial liens, mechanics liens, HOA liens, first mortgage liens, UCC liens, meaning a roofer put some work on your property, did some work on a property, and to secure his interest, her interest, that you would pay the debt, right? Pay them for the work. They record a UCC lien. I've heard people say some weird things about being able to stop foreclosures by having your business record a UCC lien against your property, but then you would have had to show some other paper trail to show why your business had an interest. Listen, don't get all messy with that stuff, because when you have to show up in court and really answer for that stuff, it's not going to be a good look. Okay, so don't talk to professionals. Stop playing. Okay. All right. I think I'm good. We're about to wrap this up. Listen, if you've got a specific situation, scenario, or case that you need to consult with a professional, you are more than welcome to reach out to myself. I do leave my information here, 323-488-3265. For those of you tuning into our radio podcast, again, that's my direct cell, 323-488-3265. You can visit me at lasuperagent.com and check out all the different things I'm into. I do coaching, training, consulting. We've got workshops. There's a form on there if you need a consultation on, again, a specific real estate matter. Let me know. You want to send me an email and just say hi, say hello, how great of a job I'm doing. I welcome that. Send me an email at lisa@lasuperagent.com. Again, this has been great. I missed you. We're back on the horse, if you will. I'm a Sagittarius, so of course, pun intended, back on Sag horse. The centaur will be here, same time, same place, next Wednesday. Again, we'll have a special guest on the show. You don't want to miss that show. And thank you. And please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. We'll see you next week on another information-packed episode on Ready, Set, Real Estate. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ready, Set, Real Estate podcast with Lisa Gillett, the LA Super Agent. Please like, subscribe, and share LA Super Agent